musical influences and why?
Hip hop wise, I'm gonna say Jay-Z. R&B, I'm gonna go. I'm a big Beyonce fan, like most people, and I also like this artist by the name of Tidra Moses. Like
Mhm,
most people don't know about Tidra Moses, but it's like you a real underground music person,
mhm,
like you know about Tidra. But I'm really a big fan of really strong songwriting, so of course that's why I like Jay-Z, hip hop
mhm.
storytelling, stuff like that. Tidra Moses, same thing. I think even with Beyonce having the gift of being able to hear somebody else create something and being like, nah, that could be a hit. Like I could turn that into something. Because a lot of times whenever we hear those demo records, it's like
Mhm.
I might not have got it hearing it from the artist who wrote it. You know what I'm saying? But Beyonce knew how to make it that. So I think that's a gift too. But yeah, those are my
Hey,
three.
that's cool. Yeah, because you rap and you sing, so every time I listen to your music, I think of like a Lauryn Hill, I think of Missy Elliott because they rap and they sing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jay-Z is dope too. What's a favorite song that you made and why?
My favorite song that I've made to date, and I always have to give two because, like you said, I sing and I rap, so I can never just marry to one.
Yeah.
So as far as my R&B side, is this song called "Pull Up Part 2."
Mhm.
Like I grew up, like I was a kid when people like TLC and SWV came out, so it's like real R&B, like what people call the golden era of R&B. You know what I mean? So I know what that sounds like. To be able to recreate something that sounds like that time, like I was really proud of that. That was my first time figuring out like three-part harmony and stuff like that. So that's my favorite R&B song. On my rap side is this song I got called Million Dollar Bitch. And it's
Mhm.
like, and excuse me, let me ask in advance, can I curse on your platform? I don't know how you run
Yeah,
your
yeah,
show.
go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So it's a song called Million Dollar Bitch, and it's really like an empowerment song. It's like I don't need your love because I know my worth. You know what I'm saying? Like I can go do what I want to do on my own, like irregardless of what anybody else is doing or how they moving. Like I'm that girl, so I know how to make this happen. Like I'm really a million dollar bitch. So that's those are my two favorite songs that I've done.
I love it. I love it. Who is an artist that you currently want to work with?
Um Currently I would say like a Sid, like Sid from the internet. I would like to create something with her.
Mhm.
Um, Teacher Moses, I'd like to work with her because she's still like, even though she's still like quote unquote like an underground legend, she's still like relevant. She just celebrated like 20 years of her debut album and they had her on Tiny Desk and it went viral. So I was like super hyped because I like when the world finds out about something that I've been knowing about.
Yeah,
So her for sure. Drake, I love Drake.
yeah.
I love Kendrick too, regardless of how they paint these narratives. I love both sides. Like I love lyricism, but I
Yeah,
like how Drake makes music that connects with everybody. Like he can go in any genre and make anything and just find his way. So yeah,
that's good. I love that. So you grew up in Oklahoma. You're from a city that's an hour from Tulsa. I don't want to butcher it. Can you tell me
Enid.
Enid?
Yeah, it's 2 hours from Tulsa. It's a city. It's a town. It's not a city. It's a town called Enid, Oklahoma. Like if you know Oklahoma, you know like we really are the country for real. Like it's not a lot of metropolitan areas. Even like Oklahoma City, our capital, is
Yeah,
not like a big city. Like if you've been somewhere like you in Texas, if you've been to Dallas, Houston,
yeah.
Austin, like they have a real downtown scene. It's like Oklahoma seems like very minuscule on that scale, but it's like to be where I'm from, Enid is like a drawback way more just from a small city standard. It's like Enid is a town. It's like two high schools, um, you know what I'm saying? Like three junior highs, maybe, and maybe like six elementaries, but it's not a very big place. It's not a lot of black people there. It's not a lot of opportunity for too much of anything there. Like that's one of those towns to where if you get on at the warehouse and you work your way up to warehouse manager, you won in life where I'm from. It's not a lot of opportunity to excel. You know what I'm saying? If you wasn't like from oil money or
Mhm,
owning your own business, it's
mhm.
one of those places where people talk about like whenever they say it's a good place to raise your family because it's not a lot going on. So it's like you can raise your kids there and have them be safe. That's the kind of place that it is.
It's crazy you said that because I actually have family in Lawton, Oklahoma. So
Oh
I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. So I want you to talk about just your upbringing in OKC, which you touched on a little bit. Just growing up in OKC and how that, just um, kind of built you as a person.
Okay, so growing up, I grew up in Enid. Like I didn't get to Oklahoma City until I was grown. So like I was born and raised in Enid, graduated from high school, spent my first 2 years of college in Enid. Like that's my DNA is in the soil of Enid. That's where I'm from. Like I could barely name you six streets in Oklahoma City. So I'm not gonna lie like it's that because it's not. But just being from a small town, it's not a lot going on. Like it feel like I feel like creatively it forced me to dream from seeing a whole lot of nothing. Like it sparks your imagination. Like you want to create the world around you. You know what I'm saying? Like because there's not a lot going on here. It's not a lot of people going anywhere.
Mhm.
Transitioning from that to somewhere like Oklahoma City and kind of just doing my music, seeing to where I can get it to a bigger audience and what that can turn it into. Cause it's like just on a scale, the Oklahoma scale, like I'm definitely one of the artists that's more established here. It's like if people who really know the culture of Oklahoma music and they talk about what's going on out here, I'm one of those people that you have to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So it made me feel accomplished just that small step. So yeah, I mean, just being outside creating the world for yourself and then trying to strive to make that bigger and better. So yeah.
And you said you was in college for 2 years. Can you talk about that period of your life being in college?
Yeah, I went to I never actually had plans to go to college. Like when I was a kid, I always said, okay, when I grow up, I want to be an attorney, whatever, whatever. But like as I got older and kind of figured out how life worked, I was like, I don't know if that would work. I really don't enjoy school. That's not something that I want to do.
Hmm.
But then just sitting around eating and not doing nothing with my life, I know what that leads to where I'm from. Like you go to jail or you just, like I said, get a warehouse job, and that's pretty much the extent of your life there. And I didn't want that to be my life. I saw bigger and better for myself. So I went to college. I had an older sister. She was the first person in our family to go to college. So I kind of followed her. Like I modeled my life after her because that's the only person I seen try to like strive for things higher than what we were used to seeing every day. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
I went, got my associate's degree there. I left there and went to Langston University and got my bachelor's. And that was kind of my school endeavors.
What'd you get your bachelor's in?
Criminal justice. I had
Criminal.
a I studied criminal justice and pre-law because like I said, I wanted to be an attorney
Yeah.
until I realized how much that might take. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what shifted? Like what birthed this music bug in you to pursue it?
Um, I've always loved music since I was a kid. Like my mom owned a nightclub for a little while and she used to DJ. So it was just like constantly music going on like in my life and around me. Like um as I got older, my mom ended up going to prison and I came to live with my aunt in Oklahoma City for a little while. And
Mhm.
like she would have us in the album store like every Tuesday. Like back when albums used to come out on Tuesday, she would go buy like the new Tupac, the new Biggie, the new SWV, whatever, Little
Mhm.
Kim and play it for us. So that was like my first real introduction to music was through situations like that. But just like growing to fall in love with it and figuring out that I could write poems and turn it into that. And it just kind of grew from there. So that's been my journey with it thus far. I started whenever I was maybe in sixth grade.
Mhm.
And then it started off as poetry. Like I was one of those kids who had like behavioral issues. So they put me in a program with a therapist. And one of her ways for us to like express emotion was write
Mhm.
poetry and stuff like that. I didn't think too much about it whenever I was a kid. I got real annoyed by it. It was just like find another word to rhyme with it, to kill time, to figure out how you feel for real. So
Yeah.
that's where it started. But it slowly started to blossom like as I grow older and started to fall in love with music, like it really just blossomed into something else. You know what I'm saying? Like I always grew up in church hearing like harmonies and learning about music through that. Like it trained me and taught me everything I knew. I had kids who I grew up with in church that sang when I was younger. And I used to be the person who was on like the background vocals. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't the main focus kind of girl. Like I was real shy, real timid. So I kind of learned my skill set from being like the background vocalist, and it just grew from there. Like I learned that I had a really strong pen and I could write, and
Mhm.
it just grew from that.
Okay. That's good. I love that. So I've listened to your albums and I've noticed your growth musically. Can you talk about your journey as an artist and as a person?
Yeah, I feel like at first I wasn't sure as far as how I wanted to present. I wanted to sound like the music that I love. I just wanted to create things that I felt like people could create, like relate to in the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, Once I got past that space and kind of figured out who I wanted to be as an artist, I just kind of try to train myself to be that each time I went to go try. So it's like I always live by the mantra, my latest is always my greatest, because it's wherever I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if I'm not constantly growing and evolving, what am I really doing? Like, I don't want this album to sound like the last album where they get stuck in a sound or in a pocket. It's like I want it to be an experience. When you heard me in 2018, you could tell that's where I was in 2018.
Mhm.
2023 and now 2025, same difference. Like you see where I'm at, what my experiences are, where I'm operating from. I try to be somebody who has a message. Like I don't just want to be making music and rapping and singing because the studio is open. It's like, what do you really have to say? You know what I'm saying? So I try to operate through that. And I feel like if you grow and if you putting that into what you're creating, you can't help but have the audience grow with that.
I love that because music is like, art, expression. So I love that. Now being that you're a lyricist, who are some of the lyricists that has inspired you? I know you said Jay-Z, but do you have any others that inspired you?
For sure. Jay-Z, like I said, Lauryn Hill, like you said earlier, like I really like music that provokes emotion. You know what I'm saying? And Lauryn Hill is just one of those people. It's like, what do you make me feel? Like anybody can get a good beat and rhyme red, dead, head, bed. But it's like, no, what do you really make me feel with what you're saying? So I try to find people like that. Jay-Z's always been one of those people, Lauryn Hill, Lil Wayne, like Lil Wayne operate. I knew peak Lil Wayne, like not whenever he got DJ Khaled famous. It's like the mixtape stuff that made Lil Wayne famous. I
Yes.
was young enough to experience that music and grow with that. So it's like I remember whenever Wayne was like heavy into the lean phase or the drug phase, and he was making the music that sounded like that time, like before we got Future and stuff like that. That was the originator of that sound. Joel Santana, like from the Dipset era, Eve. Like I always love Eve because I love aggressive women who own it. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hard, yeah.
Eve is just whenever she said the most vicious pit bull in a skirt, like you got that from her. You know what I'm saying? Like dead gorgeous without too much effort, but her energy just gave that.
Mhm.
So I always wanted to like model something like I love women who are like women of respect, women of power. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, those are my favorite lyricists, I would say.
Those are some good ones, some heavy hitters for sure. Now you was a part of the Fire in Little Africa. Can you tell me about being a part of that powerful project and how much it meant to you?
For sure. That was an eye-opening experience, just education wise. Like being from a town that's 2 hours away from one of the biggest massacres that happened in the US of Black people, and that never being taught in public schools at all. Like I didn't know about the history of this until I worked on that album.
Mhm.
Like I feel like for the state of Oklahoma, that's definitely one of the biggest opportunities that we've had thus far. It's like not too many people from where I'm from get record label deals. Like they signed a deal with Motown Records, and we all had like a part of that. We signed contracts. We
Mhm.
were in Essence. We were on Billboard. Like all of these amazing opportunities that a lot of people where we from don't have the opportunity to do. So I'm grateful for the experience of that. The story alone, just like these are people's relatives, descendants of that time who were like the originators of Black wealth, who had that snatched from them. You know what I'm saying? And these are we years away, and these are great grandkids who have something to say in regards to that message. You know what I'm saying? So I was honored to be a part of it, especially not being familiar with the story, not being somebody from Tulsa, like, but just being a creative who was outside that they like, no, we respect what you're doing and we want you to be a part of this.
Mhm.
So I was just honored in that aspect, but it's very big for where I'm from. So I'm grateful. I'm honored to have been a part of that.
Yeah, I never heard about it until, I was researching you and things like that. I was like, what? I'm like, that is so dope. That was so cool.
Yeah. It was
Um,
the 100th anniversary, I believe, that they put it out around, and it they had a special on HBO and all type of stuff. Like it went so many places off the strength of that, just the story. So even 100 years later, it still holds value, and it's still even though they took that wealth and the property and the land, like we still get to live off of those riches. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't get that opportunity without that story, and they sacrifice. So yeah.
that's great. I love that. Can you tell me about your nonprofit IBA Cares?
Yeah, you did your research. I like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you.
So outside of doing music and just trying to be a face and a creative, like coming from the background that I come from, I always want to be a person who's trying to make a difference and trying to do something to push the community forward. Like it's bigger than me. It's never about you and what you're doing. It's about the people that see what you're doing is coming behind you. So
Mhm.
it's like, no, what little opportunity that we get as Black people, I do feel like we have to turn around and pay it forward, reach back to our people. You got to put something back, like sow your seed. You know what I'm saying? Like if God bless you to rise up, turn
Mhm.
around and bless the place that you came from. Like I come from Enid, Oklahoma. A lot of kids won't even make it to the level that I've made it. So it's like I have to be an example to show them like, no, you got to strive. You got to try to get out of there. You got to see bigger than the four walls that you live within and know that the whole world is outside your doorstep if you really want to go see. You know what I'm saying? So well, IBA cares that I guess would quote unquote be my mission statement, but it's just finding different ways to try to give back to the community. So far, I've been able to execute an angel tree every Christmas to where I think we maxed it was like 150 kids. And like I'm not a person who has sponsors or like a big budget or anything like that. So it's like really just calling on the people of the community and asking for their help. You know what I mean? Like and really having them pour into that and being able to pull up to these people's houses with these gifts and them have their kids and be able to give back. Like that make it worth it every single year. So like I want to be able to do more of that. This year we're gonna do because I'm a girl who don't have no hair, we doing this event and it's phase for the babes and it's like back to school haircuts, like
Yeah,
mothers bring your kids, like I'm gonna pay the barber, like just come through and get their haircut. We're gonna try to get some sponsors and get backpacks and stuff like that. But like I said, just being active in the community and trying to give back. That's really all it's about. IBA cares. Yeah.
that's really good. That's really a good thing that you're doing. I feel like you said, to give back and be a blessing to others as well. That's really good. Um, Now I know I was watching an interview where you say you was kind of like socially awkward a little bit. You don't really open up until you're comfortable. So how
Yeah.
does that play a part with music? Because you have to be vocal and you have to perform and things like that. So how do you kind of like I guess balance that?
That's like my safe space. Like whatever I tell you that I am socially awkward, I do not enjoy like going out into the crowds, meeting new people. I'm not going anywhere trying to be the center of attention. That's just not who I am as a person. It's like I really am quiet and reserved into myself. But I know that I feel like because of the gift that I'm aware that God gave me, like I have to walk in that, like regardless of how afraid I am or how that may feel for me, like getting up on the stage, that was the easy part because I want to put on a great show. I want to do something that's memorable. But my key to that is that I'm blind as hell. Like I wear glasses, so I take my glasses off whenever I go out to do rap stuff. So the crowd is blurry. I don't know if they moving, if the shapes is moving, I know I'm winning. So it's like that's what I'm gauging it by. So for me, it's like finding a sense of comfortability. Like I want people to feel like people. Like I don't want to come and be like it's a big me and a little you. Like can we connect on that with what I'm trying to give you? And people have it's worked because people include me in their playlists and they day to day. Like my experience that we share in. Like when I meet people because of the kind of music I make, they feel like they already know me. So it's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not very awkward. Like we can have real life conversations. We can talk about anything from God to aliens, whatever you want to chop it up about. Like as long as we operating from a pure space, like I'm always gonna be able to connect with that.
That's good. That's good. I love that because there are a lot of artists who are very shy and awkward as well. So I know it takes a lot to really like get over that.
Yeah.
Also do photography as well. Can you talk about your interest in photography and how that started?
Yeah, since a kid, like I just always like taking pictures. I feel like not to be like corny, but I'm one of them people who like whenever it's all said and done, like all we gonna have is the memories. And a lot of that is because of the pictures. Like whenever my relatives, like my great aunts or my grandmother or anybody in my family would pass away, I would be the one that they would have put together the slideshow for the funeral. So I guess I kind of started to walk through my life knowing that at some point when it gets to an end, there has to be evidence of the life that we lived and who we were and what the representation of that is. So I'm not a quote unquote professional photographer. I really do like to just capture the moment. Like if I can come to where you are and just get you in your element doing your thing, like that's how I want to see people. I don't want to see it whenever it's primed and you dressed it up. It's like, who are you? Like
Mhm.
if you pass away tomorrow and I gave this photo of you to somebody, how would that resonate with them? Would that really tell the story of who you are? So
Yeah,
with my photography, that's what I try to do. I just want to get you in the moment, like truly being who you are, like no expectations.
that's powerful. That's deep.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
what is one thing that you want people to take away from your music?
like I said, it's all about emotion. I want to know that I made you feel something. You know what I mean? Like I want to know that I know that there's music made for everything. It's certain stuff for clubs, for whenever you with your significant other, like whenever you out partying with your homegirls. Like that's why I don't judge anybody's art because I know that it's a time and a space for everything. Like the people who be like, "Oh, sexy red, I can't listen to that. That's just too ratchet." It's like, no. If you in the club, two, three shots in, and you with your homegirls, that
Yeah,
sounds like some of the greatest music on earth.
yeah,
You feel me? I don't give a damn what she's saying. I feel you. It's how
yeah,
do you make me feel? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like that's not to say you have to be the most educated person or
Mhm.
have the most prolific way of putting it together. It's like, what do they make you feel? Like me, for example, for all those lyricists that I told you I love Kodak Black.
Mhm.
I can explain to you a lot of who he is, but the way that he makes me feel, it's like I feel like there's something genuine in that. You know what I'm saying? Like you really are being true to yourself and how you give it up to people. And
Mhm.
that's what will make people love your art if you just being human and being yourself.
Mhm.
Like we already get carbon copies of everything. I lost count of how many NBA young boys I've seen. Show
Mhm.
me something else. You know what I'm saying? Like he him. That's why you want to be him. So we need somebody else to be them so they can create the new whatever that's gonna be. So for me, I want to make the experience that you can only get this when you come to me.
Mhm.
Another artist won't give you this. So if you constantly know if I'm going to this person, I know we're gonna talk about God, we're gonna talk about life, we're gonna talk about love and real things. You're gonna get that when you come to me. So
Yeah.
it's like I want to give that to people every time. I want that to be the experience.
And I feel like you do. Like when I listen to your music, you're telling a story, especially with this last album, It's Not Me, It's You. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like you tell a story with every single song or every single album. With being in this, generation where, there's not a lot of really storytelling within albums, especially, how important is that when you're, making music, like your music process, to make sure that you are telling the story and making sure that it is resonating with people and resonating with yourself as well.
Like I said earlier on, I kept trying to make music that I felt like would sound good on the radio. Like my very first meeting with a program director, he told me he kind of crushed me because he was like, he said, I don't feel you and I don't believe you. He said, and if I'm honest, because of what I hear, I don't feel like you believe you either. He was like, the way that you're performing it and singing it, he was like, it's not that. He was like, you have to start asking your questions like, once you want to present this song to radio, does this work between Rihanna and Drake and whatever the new hot thing is? Can this play with that? People don't have time to figure out what you mean or what you're trying to sell them. If we don't get it as soon as we see it, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just talking to somebody about this earlier, how we live in a time where you have to dumb it down because the people to get you to understand, if you can't get them quick, they
Mhm.
don't have time to figure it out. Our brains don't work like that anymore. The cell phone and digital age have ruined that. You got to make it to where people can understand and feel you as soon as they hear it. When you come in and you get that first 10 seconds in your first three bars,
Mhm.
what are you saying is going to make me say, I want to hear the rest minute and 30 seconds of this song?
Mhm.
So for me, I go into it with that in mind. It's like, I want to pull you into the story. If you watch, even if it's a really good movie that you may not be a fan of, that you would have picked to go see in the theater, if you just on the couch lounging and something comes on TV and it's background noise, and then you start paying attention, next thing you know, you 2 hours in the movie and you love it. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? I want to be that, like the thing that it's like, I don't know what I'm getting, but once I figure out what it is, I like that, and I want more of that. That's who I want to be whenever I give music.
That is real. I agree. Like, it's very hard to just I can't even say the word, to captivate people's attention. Like, people are
Yeah.
so just, our attention span is very just low, as a generation. I feel like it's getting lower and lower, like people paying attention to things. So, how do you stay creative in just a world full of people who do music, musicians? I know it's kind of difficult to really like be original. So how do you stay original in this, this world of creatives?
Like I said, just the real life part of making the music my experience. It's
Mhm.
like if I'm really operating from what I'm going through, what my life feels like in the here and now, nothing is new under the sun. Somebody gonna feel me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you hear a song, you don't know what my significant other may have done to me to make me write this, or it's not about the details of the story. It's like, how does it make you feel? And
Mhm.
it's like, your man just might be getting on your nerves that week, and you like, you know what, this is the vibe, this is what I'm putting in, this is what I'm riding to for the week, because you done got on my nerves, you feel me, this song made me feel
Yeah.
like this person understands. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not the only one that life is happening to. I can only tell you my story so many times, but the story of other people is constantly happening. I'm gonna go through life and have conversations with people. If my homegirl or my cousin call or my
Mhm.
brother call and say, "Oh, I'm going through this or this happened," that's
Mhm.
more inspiration to put it into a song because somebody in the world is experiencing that and they gonna feel it. So
Mhm.
it's like finding a way to generalize it to where people will make it make sense, but still provoke emotion. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how I create.
I love that. I really do. Um, so we're going to do explain the lyric, and I have just just for time, I'm just have one of your lyrics that I want you to
Okay.
explain, exactly what this means, or maybe something that you was going through, so, things like that. So, if I can't make no money off your conversation, then I'm gonna feel disrespected by my time wasted. What do you mean by that?
I think that's one of those ones that's like very self-explanatory. It's like, listen, do whatever you're gonna do, but don't waste my time. Whenever people say that time is the most valuable currency,
Mhm.
please don't waste my time. It's like just as simple as you with this situation. Like, you reached out to me in advance, you
Mhm.
schedule a date, you schedule a time. If
Mhm.
you get on here and I'm 15 or 20 minutes late, like I did all of this in advance and I took all the right steps for it to flow. If you
Mhm.
drop the ball on your side, I'm gonna start thinking that that's with intention. Why are you playing with my time? I did everything to make it flow the way that it should. If you drop the ball, that's on you because I prepped. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So
Yes.
not to make it that deep, but that's just how I roll through my life. It's like, don't waste my time because I won't waste yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is not leading nowhere that's gonna benefit me or you, why are we wasting each other's time? Let's move on with our life. I'm not one of those people that believe in that. I'll get out your way so fast. Like, get to wherever you need to be, but don't let it be with me. That's it.
Absolutely. I felt that. I was like, oh, I was like, she talking about me. I was like, I
You
felt
you do
that.
business. You do business, so you get it. Like I
Yeah,
said, it's professionalism.
yeah,
Regardless of how you dressed it up or how ratchet or goofy you gotta be, like that is the message. Don't
absolutely.
waste my time.
I love that. I was like, I felt that. So this is going to be the last question. Are there any upcoming projects or anything you can share that you're working on?
Yes, very, very, very soon, sooner than later. I don't know your schedule or your rollout, but I have a new album coming out called All Is Well.
Hmm.
It's I didn't what did I drop? I dropped It's Not You, It's Me, but that was like in October
Hmm.
before last. and I kind of set and let life happen to create. So all is well is really themed around, I think, me kind of finally getting my reins on life and really understanding like the way that this works. Like I feel like I spent a lot of time in my life frazzled or not really understanding or operating from a space of my emotions and,
Mhm.
self-sabotaging a lot. And all is well is really from a space of I think I figured it out. And if not, I know that I got God with me, so I don't have no reason to worry. It's like it's all gonna work out in my favor. Like the intro is about like, everything is working for my greater good and I'm safe. You know what I'm saying? So all is well. So that's really what the theme of it is. Like I hope just like the way that you was able to find me and receive it, I hope people receive that the same way. But that's what I'm pushing on, what I'm working towards. So yeah.
I love that. I'm excited for it. Do you have a date for it?
Yeah, it's coming out March 28th.
March 28th. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
That I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited to hear that. I definitely will, put it on my socials and everything and definitely, shout you out as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to
Check it out, check it, check it out, check it, check it, check it out, check it, check it out, check it, check it, check it out, check it.